And I was 16 years old when I found out I was facing an unplanned pregnancy. It was 1976 and nobody really was talking about abortion. A friend of mine told me that it would fix my problem, and I didn't want my parents and my friends and family to know that I was sexually active, so I went ahead and I scheduled an abortion. When I drove to the clinic, I thought to myself, this feels really wrong. But because it was legal, I figured it had to be okay. The abortion was painful, and afterwards, as I left the clinic, I realized and I was relieved because my problem was gone. My problem pregnancy was no more. But as I went and I spent the night at my sister's, and in the morning, I just kept crying. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't stop crying, because I was, in one sense, really relieved. But inside, I knew that something had happened to me. I needed to pull myself together because I didn't want my parents to know. So what I did is I decided to deny that October 4th, 1976 ever happened. Because if it didn't happen, then that day could be wiped from my memory. And that's how I lived for 19 years. Abortion didn't faze me. I wouldn't think about it, except when the word came up, then it felt like somebody stuck a knife in my stomach and twisted it. It was always that evil feeling. And the only way to handle that pain was to take a drink of wine. I had to use alcohol. I had to use drugs to numb that pain that when it would just come to the surface. I didn't think abortion was forgivable, but I hoped if I did enough good things, I could tip God's scales in my favor. I volunteered for everything I could, and I worked hard to be the perfect wife. Later, when my biological clock went off and I desperately wanted to be a mom, I was able to get pregnant. But when I had my child in my womb, I became fearful that God was going to punish me through my daughter, through my child. So when she was born, I became the overbearing, overprotective mother, trying to protect her from anything that could happen to her because I was sure God was going to punish me. In 1995, I finally came to realize that I didn't just have an abortion, but that I aborted my child. And it was in that time that I finally began to find healing. I got into a healing program and I understood that forgiveness was possible. God forgave me. I reconciled with Him, I reconciled with my child, and I came to know that I could forgive myself. As I told my story to my family, I realized that it was time to help others. And that is why we started the Silent No More campaign. That is why these women are silent no more. And that is why we will be silent no more until abortion becomes unthinkable, unnecessary, and completely rid in this country. God bless you all.